how we activate and mobilize the body's stem cells, because it relates to that spiral of life energy, but it's also through the whole body. Everything in the body is this geometry, really. Next. Okay, so your scalar vortex. Chakras are also scalar vortex. Okay, so this is a depiction of that. That's your torsion fields. Okay, next. So this is real-time aura imaging. And we had a top secret government scientist named Bob Dratch that he found that it was, he had invented a device that measured the fields off the chakras. He found this was trying to balance all the chakras in the first 60 seconds. You know, like I said, light speed, right? But this is before and after 1 hour, and you see how the chakras are all perfectly aligned, because it's giving the energy to the body for dynamic homeostasis, where everything wants to go back into that balance. Next. The medallions hold that torsion field really well. And scalar is field-like. It can implant its signature on solid objects. So these are natural stones, which then works with the crystal and forms in the blood, in the body. But also it's the same shape as the red blood cells, because you want your red blood cells to maintain that integrity. You don't want to collapse the red blood cells. You don't want them all stuck together. You want them to be free-flowing. When the blood has the right charge, it's all free-flowing. So very, very important. This infinity wave regenerates, repairs itself indefinitely. Everybody wants to know, how long does scalar last? How long does the charge last? It's an infinity wave. It just keeps on going. Infinity lasts a long time. And these are self-healing, self-repairing, self-regenerating, self-perpetuating fields. So you can test these medallions. They've been tested 10 years later. 100% of the time, unequivocally, it's been as great a charge or greater. And it's going to activate your own healing powers, because how we are designed and meant to be is self-healing. Okay, imprinting within the DNA. And they repair the DNA and lengthen telomeres. Back in the 90s, when NASA showed up at our door with our first system in Golden, Colorado, they said it looked like the signature of a nuclear sub on land. And so we ended up working with NASA and putting a system in Houston, and they were tracking the effects. One of the things that was tracked was the top geneticist at Baylor University in the late 90s studied the effects on the DNA and found that this technology was repairing all the genetic damage, repairing all the breaks in the DNA, and lengthening telomeres. Everybody's hearing more and more about telomeres now, right? That's
I've
your
never heard of
longevity
What is
code.
a telomere?
Telomeres are the end caps of the DNA, and shortened telomeres has to do with extraordinary shortened lifespan. So in cancer, the telomeres are very, very short, for example. But it has to do with lifespan, whether it's heart disease or anything else. A lot of research on telomeres. Anyway, I could really talk a lot about that. But the lengthening of
the telomeres are long. That's why they get away with eating wrong things.
That's right.
Like very young kids and stuff get away with it because their telomeres are long and they help them repair the damage all the time. The more you utilize them by eating red, the faster they get short.
There's a way nowadays so that you can test the telomeres and compare the actual age of the body compared to the chronological age of the body. So
Right.
it's
Right, there are tests that you can do. There's different biological age tests, things that you can, but you can do telomere testing. Now it's gotten to be more reasonable versus this was the top geneticist in the world really doing the testing. And so it's very, very interesting. But anyway, so lengthening of telomeres, but this is true age reversal. So do you want to grow older or would you rather grow younger? I don't know.
How long?
But another way of understanding telomeres, I can tell when I haven't spent enough time in my own technology, because the ends of my hair will split. And it's the same thing with the telomeres, they split, fragment, versus unified fields, everything stays strong. So, yeah. It's incredible for growing hair. I mean, the joke is it's a scalar wave, you know, but it's really incredible for accelerating hair growth and skin and things like that. So, anyway, next. Oh, Dr. Glenn Ryan, Stanford, a Harvard biophysicist. We have the study in the back of the room, actually, or it's on our website at eesystem.com, the study. He wrote up a full study on the DNA research he did in his labs with the medallions. And he compared, you know, ours is a hypercharged scalar embedded stone. He compared the same stones, same shape. What he found with the DNA was a 28% increase in the electrical conductivity of the DNA itself. High statistical significance. 28% increase in the conductivity of your DNA. Yeah. So next. That was just from the medallion. That helps explain a lot of the miracles we see with the medallions. These are just examples of different systems. Next. Now this is John Orba. You can watch this video online, actually, on our website, I think. John Orva was sent in, he came into a 4-unit system here in Florida. He was brought to meet me. He brought a $100,000 oscilloscope, but he had been the head of science, he was at that point still, the head of science for the Pentagon. He was Pentagon, DOD, NASA, Hyper Genius, Pattern Energy consultant, worked on Skunk Works, Black Hole, Phantom Works, those of you that have some of those backgrounds. He was also considered the top brain researcher in the world. So we did a lot of brain research with him, blew him away. But anyway, the first time he came in, he brought this $100,000 oscilloscope. But what was interesting, because I've had every quackbuster, every top government scientist sent in, but this time somebody actually videotaped it. And so he's explaining what he's seeing and what it means, and it's just in a 4-unit system. But he's explaining a total transmutation of 60 cycle and other existing detrimental energy fields with a collision of photons, like CERN or Fermi Labs were colliding photons. Everybody's heard of the photon colliders?
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, CERN, CERN or Fermi Labs, and creating photonic fusion, a cold fusion event. And again, he knew about the military intel and NASA stuff. Production of new forms of beneficial energy sweeping an entire spectrum. And he said it looks like magic because he can see the release of the photons also in the equipment. This should be a 60 cycle field here, instead it's completely flatlined. He said it's really physics at a very, very high level of application. Now he's asked me, how in the world did you get this to do everything it's doing? As small as it is. Everybody else is going, can't you make it smaller? You're going, how in the world did you get this to do this? This would take, take hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it to create what I was creating. But all I want to do is heal the world, and we took what we had to work with and got it to do it. Everybody else is going, can't you make it smaller? Well, it's in the medallion. This is very high-tech in a low-tech model, very effective. They don't, they work. Okay, next. So this is the release of charge. This was Kirlian research. Kirlian is also your photonic, shows your photonic release, your emanations, but this is before and after of a product. And this was done in $1 million Kirlian lab, another aerospace engineer. And they found with testing things 100% of the time it was as great a charge or greater. But this is actually what occurs in your cells when you're in the system. The cells get excited. It's activating literally the light at the core of the DNA. The pure science is the core of your DNA is the light, the stuff from the stars. You want to turn those lights on, want to activate that light within you. So every neurosynapses, every nerve impulse is electrical current. Every cell of your body is meant to be like a mini battery. That's your mitochondrial activity. Your mitochondria, your ATP production. We're meant to be at minus 70 to 90 millivolts membrane potential when you're healthy. Next. When your body has the right energy, your body wants to heal anything and everything. The power that made the body heals the body. Basic chiropractic principle, but the power that made the body heals the body. And so this is a way for the energy to flow very efficiently through your body. There is a great book, Lessons from the Miracle Doctors. Chapter 17 of that book, it's all about energy, is John Barron's research with our technology. You can find that at johnbarron.org. I highly recommend the book, it's great. Okay, next. Or you can pull up the Barron report on his, you can pull up the Barron report on his website as well. John Barron, JONBARRON.org. Okay, so another scientist I worked with from Greece, Panos Papas, and he was considered a top scientist, and he proved that what occurs in the body is actually cold fusion. We did a lot of research together. Maybe some of you have heard healing is voltage, some of that material, about the body having charge. Well, we're meant to be at 70 to 90. Disease and aging occur when your cellular energy falls below this range. Cancer cannot develop in the body till it's below 20. Cancer can't exist in a high energy system. Can't exist in an alkaline, as Warburg's work, can't exist in an alkaline system, in an oxygenated system. And we'll explain how that's all related. Cancer cannot exist in a high energy system. So as you grow older, experience the stress, that takes your energy. Right? Versus you want to do things that give you energy. Okay, that raise your vitality, your life force. Anyway, next. So this is accugraph testing, before and afters. This was a doctor with a pain clinic, Dr. Cook with a pain clinic on the East Coast. And accugraph testing measures the energy in the meridians. So this is the before, this is the after. And he dealt with this pain clinic, so this pain of strokes, paralysis, cancer, and things like that. Next. What he said in his 130 cases, it raises the cellular energy, and he proved that with every single one of the 130 cases, increasing that energy. And everyone had subjective complaint improvements, reduction of pain, increased movement, reduction of tumors, whatever it was, complaint improvements. Greater range of motion, greater balance, because he also talked about the balance in the body. Next. So this is going to show that balance. This is accugraph put in a pie chart instead. The red is too much energy in the lungs, the small intestines, the large intestines. This is inflammation. You might see this in leaky gut. You might, that kind of thing. That the body taking its energy and using it for the inflammation. Too little energy, because when the body's stuck in fight, flight, or fight, or sympathetic mode, it's taking all its energy just to cope. And so then it only gives enough energy, enough to get by to the other systems. So you see not enough energy on all the other meridians of the body and all the other systems. Now this is after just 1 hour in the system. You would only see a result like this, accugraphs used by acupuncturists, you would only see a result like that if you've had your ideal optimal acupuncture treatment in an ideal environment, the ideal optimal acupuncture treatment on every meridian simultaneously. And everybody gets it at once. It doesn't matter how many people you put in the room at once. It's like laser light acupuncture. So you get a lot of the benefits of a laser therapy as well. It's a light therapy. It's photons. It's and scalar and PEMF. And I was talking about PEMF. You have all these benefits going. And the body Dynamic homeostasis wants to be in balance, so it's gonna take the energy and try to move into an ideal optimal state as fast as possible. It's just 1 hour. Next. We know that we are beings of light. Dr. Fritz Albert Popp, International Institute of Biophysics, did the research, wrote the books. He says that the prime function of the DNA is the storage of photons. The DNA is biophotonic. This is why we don't just do scalar. The DNA is biophotonic. Photons, that's your quantums of light. Disease is caused by a loss of photons, is what he said. Carcinogens scramble the light. We have all this carcinogenic exposure. Carcinogens scramble the light. It's a disturbance in the force, right? Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's a disturbance in the force. Healing is accomplished by photo repair. You want the light force to always be with you. And live long and prosper. Yeah. Okay. Activation of light within the DNA, and that fusion, those hydrogen atoms that are released, and hydrogen you're going to be hearing a lot more about in healing, the active hydrogen, because that's your ultimate antioxidant. There was a whole talk just on hydrogen at this conference, and the active hydrogen is your ultimate antioxidant. But what is pH? That's your hydrogen potential, or the power of hydrogen. Yeah. But also that active hydrogen then can repair your hydrogen bonds. They found it very related to your stem cell activity, to your telomere activity. So this is how your body wants to heal, is with that active hydrogen. That's the ultimate antioxidant. So it's going to reduce all that oxidative damage and stress in the body. Next. That's what that light looks like. So, okay, next. Before and afters again, and this is a charged product. For example, we charge these products, and you can get this from Anya, the Clarity, and the Calibrate. The 8 stands for our technology. We hypercharge all their products for this company. That's what that looks like. We've done thousands of these before and after. Next. This is holding a charged product. So we pick up a box of this. The body